Hey, good morning. This is Carnivore Ken. I'm just back with an update. Want to talk a little bit about my calcium scores, and I want to talk about my CCTA test that I had. All right. Now, I do have high calcium CAC test. My last one, it was a whopping 1485. All right. What does that mean? Now, I'm a 64-year-old male. All right. Just to let you know, obviously, if you have calcium in your arteries, it's to keep it simple, it's hardening of the arteries. All right, is that bad? It certainly could be, but there are some interesting things that maybe people are not aware of, such as a lot of ultra marathoners have very high CAC scores when they go in for tests. Now, I have done marathons. I've done several half marathons. I've done high-tech races, which is, cross-country running, mountain biking, kayaking, obstacles. I've done a lot of long-distance endurance training in my life over the decades. I am working on my 7th decade of life right now. So 64, a few years I'll be 70. All right. But anyways, I have a high calcium score. It can be scary, all right? But the calcium score only shows that you have calcium for some reason. Why do long distance marathoners have higher CAC scores? Maybe it's you're putting that stress on there. Is it arteries? Is it necessarily dangerous? Well, there is studies out there that right now they're not sure if you've gotten it through such things as running marathons, if it's necessarily dangerous. All right, but anyways, a CAC score does not show blockages. All right, the next test that they sent me on, because one, I do have high cholesterol and I had a high CAC test score, so they could justify sending me in for a cardiac angiogram test, a CTA or CCTA, whatever you want. This is where they put dye in your veins so they can get contrast, and it shows the arteries and the heart functioning. It's more invasive because more radiation. And anyways, I had that, and I had the stress test too. I think after I had the test on the table. It might have been before. But anyways, I had a stress test too. And I'm working through my cardiologist. So I go back in to see my cardiologist after I had my the dye contrast CTA test. And he said I killed it. No blockages whatsoever, even knowing I have a high CAC score. So keep in mind, you can have a high CAC score and still have wide open arteries. Now, why do I have wide open arteries and no blockages? I have no calcium on any of my heart valves. From what he could tell, it looks like it's from the outside in. So the linings of my arteries on the inside are still working right. And who knows why it's from the outside in. My blood pressure, which I don't mind showing you, I don't know how good it will be right now because I just got done working out and I am standing, but my blood pressure is normally really good. I check it at home, and I also check it at the doctor's office when I do go. I try to stay away from those places. And I check it in, CVS's, Walgreens, wherever I happen to be. So normally my blood pressure runs around 120 on the top, and I'm usually lower on the bottom. I'm usually around 65 on the bottom, normally below 70. And my pulse rate's usually around 55 beats per minute. So anyways, you don't necessarily have to be scared to death if you do get that high CAC score. You really, if you're not having those symptoms, maybe you know, maybe you don't need to worry about anything anyways. They're not even sure if a high CAT score past a certain rate is more dangerous, less dangerous. You know, it's just hard to say. Now, just to let you know, I have been doing some, you know, I don't want to I am carnivore, Ken. You know, I love eating meat, but I want to hear the full story from the vegans too. So when I've been doing my exercise and my long walks and all that, I've been listening some vegan content, believe it or not, and hear them talk about the same thing that the carnivores talk, a proper human diet. You know, I listened to Dr. Goggins the other day, which he pushes a starch diet, that it's the proper human diet. You know, potatoes, corns, that sugar is, you know, the primary thing that the human body craves and wants to run on. Well, you know, I don't know how that would go along with me trying to lower my sugar levels, because, you know, I was getting near being a type 2 diabetic, which you know, through the carnivore, I have brought that down all the way to 5.9, still working lower, and that is what I'm going to focus on. I'm focused on exercising, maintaining a clean carnivore diet. I am adding on my longer fast, and all that's good. I just wanted to get on here and tell you I am doing my research still. I do like the fact that my my more invasive test with a contrasting dye showed everything's fantastic. In fact, when I also took the stress test, they had a hard time getting my on an incline, getting my heart rate up high enough. And before you reach a certain point, you have to have a PA or a doctor there. And I could tell she was getting a little antsy, because even on the incline, my heart rate wasn't going up that high. She had to stay there. She had other things to do, but she has to be there, I guess, for precautions or something. And they, you know, I run and I do a lot of cardio and I do a lot of weightlifting, and my heart rate is used to being put under stress, which I think that's a good thing. So anyways, folks, remember, follow, like. I am getting a lot of comments from people that on my YouTube videos that I know are more vegan leaning or vegetarian leaning. I have read some, I'm not saying that eating vegetables is not good for you. You know, I do think there's a lot of lectins and oxalates, because I felt when I went to carnivore, boy, I'm telling you, I had some massive oxalate dumping, I assume, because, you know, I was like urinating all the time. And of course, that's all stopped, because I've been going at this a couple years. It's hard for me to go off carnivore, even with all the good news I hear from vegetarians, because I've seen the results of my carnivore diet. I simply, it's so easy to follow. It's so simple. And a lot of the inflammation I had, especially in my feet, the big joint in my toe was like gout. And, you know, I mean, for years, and I have been vegetarian before. I've ate a lot of plants, and my feet were always killing me. It was hard to walk. And especially in the morning, I often, I would go to water parks. I'm walking around with sore, achy feet, and I'm like, do all people have these problems, or is it just me? And that's when I was had more of a balanced diet. I always exercised my whole life, but I did have these aches and pains and arthritis, and the feet were horrible as I was growing older. And I'm telling you, the carnivore took care of that. The vegetables and all that never did. And so that's why I'm carnivore. And I also think that, they pretty much know the one thing, they've tried all these kind of diets, have been around forever. And, you know, the one diet they're not quite, is the newest thing on the scene. Yeah, people may have done it before, but how many people have just been eating meats? You know, I mean, the Atkins, you know, but I don't think there's a whole lot of studies out there. There's studies out there on people that eat meat, but they do all kinds of other things, such as smoking and drinking and God knows what else, eating pizza. Is there any studies out there just on pure meat eaters? That people that primarily don't drink, don't smoke, don't do all the other bad habits, and just eat meat? I'm not sure if there is. So that's my route. I'm going to keep on doing. But a couple other studies out there, right, that I read that's very interesting is vegans. Vegans and vegetarians have a higher rate of hip fractures than people that consume meat. And they're not sure if it's because of their lower BMI. Okay, they are getting smaller as they age, but maybe that, you know, remember sarcopenia, as you age, you want to fight that through resistance training, but also because the vegan and vegetarians, maybe their lower protein intake is, you know, maybe lowering their risk of certain cardiovascular conditions, but that muscle mass that they're losing as they're aging ups the chances of things such as hip fractures. And we all know, you know, as you get older, you have a hip fracture. A lot of older people that have hip fractures don't have very good longevity, bottom line. And another study I read recently, this one's pretty interesting, is vegetarians and vegans have slightly lower risk of cardiovascular heart attacks, right? But vegetarians, this one was specific to vegetarians, have a higher risk of strokes than meat eaters. And they think that's due to the lowering of cholesterol through the vegetarian diet, but the cholesterol is somehow good for the brain, and that's why people that consume meat, you know, have less strokes. So, you know, who knows? I just think that if you want to be healthy as you age, which 64, I put myself up against people much younger than me, you can be like me too, but you got to go. Exercise is very, very important. You got to keep that blood flowing. All right, I got a high calcium score, but I get my heart rate up on a regular basis. I think that's how I've been able to keep my arteries wide open according to the CTA contrasting dye test I had, folks. So, and also the fact that my blood pressure without no medication is at such a good level, that's showing, you know, usually when your arteries start becoming hard on the inside and all that, that's what why people start having high blood pressure. My blood pressure is great, so evidently I'm doing something right. I eating carnivore, fasting, going out, getting you know, good sun, and I do saunas, and I do cold plunge. Not as often. I'm thinking about doing one today. It's cold outside, and I got clean water in my cold plunge, and but man, I saw those cold plunges are something else. But anyways, I wanted to get on here, and you know, I'm documenting my journey, folks. There's more to the story than just a high CAT score. The CTA test afterwards, which they, you know, the hospital was able to bill my insurance on. The stress test showed my valves are wide open and arteries are good from the inside. So I take that as a positive. And one more thing I was going to say about Oh, something I had read recently about statin drugs. You know, when you go on statin drug, it actually jacks up your calcification, right? And they think that's because people that promote statin drugs think that's because it's stabilizing the soft plaque. Well, in my case, the CTA test showed that I didn't have any soft plaque as far as blockages. A CTA test is much more revealing than just a CAT score that shows calcium. I didn't have any soft plaque buildup anywhere or any blockages. But anyways, people want to say the statin drugs are stabilizing the soft plaque, right? And that's why your CAT scores will go up significantly after you go on a statin drug. But there's other people and other studies I saw out there that suggest that the reason the statin drug raises your CAT scores is because the statin drug affects your body absorbing vitamin K. And everybody knows that vitamin K is good to direct calcium out of the soft tissue into the bones where it belongs. So anyways, I had a great morning workout. I'm remotivated. The more research I find out and look into, vegans, vegetarians out there, I am studying your suggested lifestyle, and you know, who knows? Maybe I'll learn something. On my long trips outside, I am listening to vegetarian, vegan content, but I'm not convinced it's better than carnivore because I had great results, and that whole idea of being vegan and vegetarian, losing the muscle as you age, I don't think that doesn't turn me on about going that route. Plus, vegan and vegetarians tend to have, from what I understand through my research, lower testosterone as they age, and that doesn't turn me on either. I want to go out an alpha male, not some frail, skinny, low body mass index vegan or vegetarian. I want to go out strong. Remember, I think health span versus lifespan, you know, if you're going to live, let's live, not be frail and all broken up for a few years. 64, still going strong, and I anticipate I'm going to still be going strong in my 70s and 80s, but we'll see. But you can join me on this journey. You know, if you're convinced my CAT score is going to kill me, follow along, like it, follow. Give me, you know, when I have my first heart attack or stroke, I'll make a video. All right? So, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Guys, age well, exercise. I suggest a carnivore diet. You know, but, you know, don't give up, all right? Like and follow. I appreciate it. Try to build this channel. That's it. Carnivore Ken out.